I think you can feel good about being vegetarian, that you're causing less suffering, but are you realistically causing less suffering? Because I feel like the meat industry is so big that even if one person switches away from it, it's sort of insignificant.
You have a minute for a conversation. I'm asking people if they've ever witnessed how animals are killed for meat, for flesh.
I'm trying to think. I have once.
You have once?
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you remember what happened in that video?
No, I saw it
in person.
Yeah,
right.
It was in. I'm vegetarian now, so like I've kind of do think about this stuff actively. But
was that a reason why you went vegetarian?
no, but it's definitely one of the reasons, I think, because when I feel like as humans we have like this ability to not eat animals anymore, because is that a cognitive ability? Like animals need to eat animals because that's how they get protein and stuff, but we have alternate like options now, you know. And
yeah, well, we're omnivores, aren't we?
Yeah.
So we can survive and thrive just by eating plants. So would you say like there's no reason to cause unnecessary suffering?
Depends. I think one of the main reasons why I went vegetarian recently was because just the way how like animal farming is done, you know, it's just so it's like a vicious cycle of just producing animals just to get slaughtered, sort of thing.
Right.
And pesticides and all like the synthetic stuff they have to put in to make sure that the chicken grow quickly so then they can be killed, and it's profit motivated and all that. So then I just decided I'm going to just become vegetarian. That's pretty much it. Yeah,
absolutely. I went vegetarian for those exact same reasons. Like for us to eat the flesh of an animal, it has to be ultimately killed, and that's going to cause a lot of suffering, and it's completely unnecessary because we can eat plants and get all our nutrition. You know, like you say, like like some animals are carnivores, so they have to eat animals, but most aren't. Like, and we're herbivores, so we can just eat plants. Would you say the same reasons that you went vegetarian might apply to stop drinking milk and consuming eggs as well?
I think when it comes to like milk and eggs, I think it's about protein, you know. And since going vegetarian, I definitely had to like get whey protein and all that, because I definitely felt like I had less protein in my system, especially like going to the gym. As in, you do lack a lot of protein when you switch from like a chicken-based diet, like chicken as your protein option, and then you don't have any protein. So
well, that's the thing. But if you cut it out entirely, of course, you're going to be protein deficient because you're not making that replacement. But if you make the replacement, you don't need to consume any animal products.
Yeah,
because there's so many plant-based proteins. Like I have a plant-based protein shake.
Yeah, so that's what I do as well now.
Yeah, so you don't need to have the whey one. It's the same with milk. Like we can get oat milk or soy milk, which is like fortified with B12 and has calcium in. We don't need the calcium from animal milks.
Yeah.
And like how you went vegetarian, it's like to reduce suffering and like to reduce that impact you're having on the environment, but also the animal, which is having a life of like pain and misery. It's the same with eating eggs and drinking milk. So we're still paying towards that industry.
Yeah, but I think if you can have your own chicken and sort of thing, and if you know where the eggs are coming from, sort of thing, then I think that's a lot more ethical in a way.
I think you could argue that.
And that's like a goal that I'm striving towards in the future, you know, having like, so I know like the eggs I'm eating is from like free range chicken that are getting fed properly and looked after properly as well. I think that's important to me, but at the same time I think you can feel good about being vegetarian, that you're causing less suffering, but are you realistically causing less suffering? Because I feel like the meat industry is so big that even if one person switches away from it, it's sort of insignificant. So I don't necessarily think about switching to vegetarian being like a cause of me causing less suffering to animals, because I know that's still going about. And
well, sure, it's still going on, but you're contributing less.
Yeah,
Wait a minute. You're contributing less to the suffering. So overall, there's a net loss of suffering by you abstaining.
I get that. Yeah.
It's been shown that by going vegan, you save up to, I think it's 200 to 300 animals a year. I think it's around 200. So even individually making that change, we will have a big change for those animals which are being killed. And I just want to clarify, when you say free range, I think you could argue that eating like a chicken in your like eating eggs from a backyard chicken is a lot more ethical.
Yeah.
But yeah, that could be considered more free range. But what free range in supermarket stuff isn't free range. They're given a slightly bigger space,
it's just,
but it's still exploitation and murdering them.
Yeah.
But I've actually got a friend that's got a backyard chicken, but what they do is, because the chickens which are alive now have been selectively bred to produce way more eggs, so what happens is they get osteoporosis because all of their calcium goes into the eggs instead of their bones. So a good thing to do is to feed the eggs back to the chickons. But I do agree that I think it could be considered way more ethical.
There's those factors as well, as in they've been sort of modified to just be meat,
Like they grow a lot faster because they're killed at, I believe it's like
it's an optimal
like 4 or 5 weeks, very, very young. But like say again with milk, there's so many alternatives. So then there's not many like that really option of a backyard cow, because you have to go through all these processes. And do you know the kind of practices that go into getting milk? Do you know what happens to those cows?
But I do know that they get a lot of like drugs put into their system to just because of the what's it called? So they don't get diseases and sort of stuff,
Yeah,
it's that part. So
because the way they're kept, such confined conditions, like viruses and diseases are really like kind of prosper there. But to get milk, what happens is we forcefully impregnate the cow. It's called artificial insemination, which is basically raping them because they can't give consent. Like animals can't consent to be killed. They then have a 9-month gestation period, and then the calf is born. The calf is taken away from the mother, and then the milk, which is intended for the calf, gets drunk by humans. And that calf, if it's a male, it'll be killed, and if it's a female, it'll be put into the same cycle. So even if we're not paying for the flesh, we're still, if we're eating eggs or drinking milk as well, we're contributing to that cycle again, which is like really vicious and causing suffering.
I get that. I would like to definitely move from vegetarianism to vegan, but it's as a student, as in even moving to being a vegetarian, I definitely felt like I lacked energy, and then my meal portions had to be bigger in a way.
Right.
But that's one of the reasons why I haven't fully went to the vegan side yet. 'Cause it's just that energy factor. But I think in the future,
please do lots of research on it, because you absolutely can get all your nutrition and be energized on a plant-based diet. So I'd recommend eating, like nuts are very high in calorie dense.
I do
eat loads of protein and energy. It's just about making those replacements. Just do the research, track your nutrition. So I did that for a week just to make sure I was getting everything, and then after that you don't really have to worry about it. But just like kind of make sure you're doing it in a smart way, because you don't want to get deficient in things.
Definitely. After going vegetarian, like my diet became like a lot better, as in sweet potatoes, all the nuts, like cashews, like every morning porridge. It's really good. I really like it. But definitely.
There's so many amazing plant-based foods.
There's a lot of like amazing stuff.
There's only a few animals which people eat, but there's so many plants which we can eat, which are absolutely amazing. So I think it's important for our health. It's a lot better for the environment, but I think the most important thing is for the animals, because the motivation to be plant-based just for our health can sometimes sway, and we might not get so motivated. But reminding ourselves of the animal which is suffering and to not add to that suffering, I think is a really powerful motivator.
It really
so keep going back to that.
No, I get that.
Cool. Well, thank you for
meeting.
Thanks for watching. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you get notified when videos go up every Thursday. If you want to watch another conversation, here are a couple of options. And if you want to support my activism, there's a link in my profile to a page where you can buy me a coffee and donate money to an animal sanctuary. Thanks. Amber.